describe like how was it for you like to move to the US and begin this journey. Now you've completed 3 months. You've completed your first semester.
Correct.
How big of a change was it for you? And then I can share my experience also.
Okay.
So you can.
Like, to begin with, I started thinking about moving to the US right after I saw you move to the US.
Yeah, I mean, I was right there.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, yes, I have to maybe do this if I want to like move out of Pune. So I started thinking about actually moving to the US during my second year in engineering.
Okay. Why the urge to move out of Pune?
I thought it was getting a little too stagnant for me.
In terms of like.
In terms of daily routine, just go to college, come home, meet friends, go to class if you have, and then just come back, have dinner, sleep, assignments, and everything. So,
okay. But apart from that, you were doing a lot of other things in the US, right? Like.
First of all, like when lockdown hit, I mean that was just tough.
So how was engineering through lockdown? Like your first year,
first 1.5 years were very good.
Like you were going to college.
Meeting everyone and professors mainly.
So there was some separation between like home and college.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You didn't have like a laptop for your college.
Okay.
You just get up, just turn on your laptop, attend lectures.
How were the lectures? Like, do you think that online, like learning online, was conducive to any sort of learning? Did you?
I mean, so this was the first time it happened, right? So not many things were in place.
Okay.
So even for the professors, it was the first time teaching online, and I think they had a hard time teaching online.
And the kids weren't.
And initially kids were just too, malicious, I guess.
But why? Is it because of like the freedom that they have?
Yeah, and like even I took advantage of that to some extent. So I used to join like 10 minutes before the lecture ends, just so that I can put my attendance and then just leave.
And then nobody checked.
Initially nobody checked, but then they got like.
Then they started taking attendance.
Yeah, they're like, oh fuck, kids are doing this. So. Yeah, but then I think even the professors learned like what we did for attendance, and it was basically for attendance, right? Because we had like 75% compulsory attendance, and we had to show them that we were attending. So
the college for me was so different than what it was for you. Like full 4 years, first year to last year.
Yeah.
Attending college every day. Then I met Abhimanyu, so we used to like carpool or like bike pool. So we used to like drive alternate days. But it changed after the first year. Like we got separated into 2 different divisions.
Correct. Like
so then
branch wise, right?
No, branch. We were still in mechanical.
Okay.
Name wise.
Got
sorted.
Okay.
Yeah. So after getting sorted, we still sort of wanted to like attend college together.
Right.
So he used to attend his A division lectures, and I used to attend like my B division lectures. But when he had lectures, I used to have practicals, and the other way around. So attendance was really like not priority even back then. Like so, it maybe not a lot was different even in terms of COVID, but it was like still for some reason like we did not find the like value in attending college for whatever the reason. Maybe the professors
sometimes you just don't feel like attending college. Like, and you meet someone and then you're just like aaj college nahi jana hai. So
but I don't know, a lot of it has to do with like, but that changed when I got here for sure.
Definitely.
We'll talk about
that
it
is
later.
That is one crucial change that I felt was necessary after I came here, that I couldn't really miss one lecture over here, because although most of them were taught online and they didn't have any compulsory attendance or some shit, but the material which they taught was linked to the next lecture, and if you missed that, then you couldn't
catch up. There's no way of catching
there's
up.
No way of catching up.
That is true, because first of all, you're paying a lot of money to attend college here, so that sort of like guilt.
That's an added pressure.
Yeah, not pressure, but like just guilt. Like also you're like fully responsible for what they do
Exactly.
here. So that's a big change. I feel like I felt it too.
Mhm.
But it was very easy for me to make that decision.
Mhm.
Honestly, once I came here for my masters, it was like there is
Yeah.
no option
There is,
of bunking.
yeah, you kind of feel that yourself. I mean, there's nobody to tell you that a lecture attend kar and all.
Yeah,
So-
but that doesn't stop you from like. I mean, of course, there'll be times when you don't feel like attending, and
Uh-huh.
I know like attendance is not a big deal here when you're doing like your masters, but you are here because you finally picked like a major. Like I picked
Exactly.
biomed because I really wanted to study it,
Mhm.
and I always like had like this liking towards biology, and now
Right.
that is going to help me for engineering. So I was like,
Why
yeah,
not?
I want to like attend every single lecture. I
Fair.
want to gain all the knowledge that I
Mhm.
have to.
Mhm.
So there was never a thought, but
Mhm.
but then it actually like then for the first 2 semesters, of course, I was attending lectures, and then we moved on to like I moved on to do my thesis. So then it
Right.
was like compulsory lab work. So
Right.
it became like a job where like I have to go to lab and do my research.
Right.
So like not attending, of course, was the one thing that is very very different from
Mhm.
like attending college in India and attending like school here.
Fair.
But apart from that, like, what do you think is like a good thing that you find over here? Like how?
Find over here. Yeah. So one thing right off the bat is like plagiarism rules over here.
Correct. So
Like-
you have to work.
You have to work yourself. You can't like just. I mean, like you can collaborate with your friends, but you can't have the same copy of what your friend has. And that is one big reason why this is very, very much better than what I did back in India, because during engineering, all I did was like one person used to send those assignments and all 60 other people used to copy that.
Yeah, but there was no point in those assignments.
Exactly.
Correct. Like that's probably one of the reasons why we are also dissociated with the
Mhm.
idea that like we are submitting an assignment, because
Exactly.
I never understood the purpose of running those experiments in the lab. Like even
Exactly.
if we had
And-
a lab, it was like, yeah, you go here, like do this machine, like do whatever you have to on this machine, find
Correct.
out like the least count, but like there's no one explaining what's the purpose of this experiment,
Exactly.
what is the application, where
And
is the
I
real
don't
world.
think they actually test what you learned.
That is, yeah, over here it is all like understanding based,
Mhm.
right? So
Exactly.
much of it is understanding
Yeah,
based.
I mean, if you haven't understood anything, you won't be able to do your assignments, and then you have to attend office hours. So that makes you pay attention in class.
Okay.
So that's good.
So in terms of switching, again, I have done the same switch, so I'm aware. But for
Mhm.
you, in terms of switching from mechanical to biomed,
Mhm.
what was your thinking process? Like you know where you want to be.
Mhm.
So how did you go about like deciding? Right from the start, like okay, giving GRE was just one of the aspects, but
Exactly.
through COVID, like even that was waived off.
Yeah, correct.
So how are you deciding which university to go to then?
So how did I decide which university? Okay, so basically I started with those two main entrance exams, which GRE and TOEFL.
Yeah,
But-
those are not entrance exams.
Not
those are,
entrance
like-
exam, but like you have to show that
Yeah.
you've attempted those at least.
Yeah.
So for TOEFL you have an option like IELTS, but I didn't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But then after that, it's just like you have to do your research in like which. So firstly, you have to know what you want to major in, and that is like a very important aspect as to which college you choose, because there are some instances where people have come here and they don't like this college and they
So
have
how
some kind of
did-
a regret that they should have chosen a better college, which they have had an admit for.
So how did you research?
So I basically started with just simple Google search that biomedical engineering majors in US.
How did you like start your research? How did you begin your research?
Yeah, so basically I started with a simple Google search saying biomedical engineering majors
Hmm.
offered in like which colleges offer those majors, and
That's a huge list.
that's a huge list, yeah. And then you like shortlist some of those universities which you like, and then I had also joined a consultancy.
Okay, so that
Or-
definitely helps.
Yeah, so that definitely helped. They helped me like shortlist my colleges and shortlist my applications and everything. And then I applied to those colleges and maybe like got into three,
3 out of how many ever you had
three out of
shortlisted?
6, 7 I think.
Okay, that's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of like shortlisting or basically you must have a clear idea of like what you want to do, right?
Correct,
Like so you, I mean, of course we were talking throughout, so you knew what you had to do. But for
Right.
someone who is like, it's tough because by the time I feel like engineering you can just do because you're doing like, ठीक है, you're getting a graduate degree, undergraduate degree, and engineering just keeps happening. Same thing happened to me. Like while doing engineering, I was literally trying to do everything else.
Yeah.
Everything else. Like I was doing music. I was really focusing on football also, and you know, as much as like there is to do, I was doing everything apart from attending college. But that just, I feel like that changed like after that year off that I took after like engineering. I feel like I know
You
what
had
I
an
have to
idea.
study. Yeah. And I know that there are places in the US and also elsewhere. Not that I'm
Exactly.
like very
Yeah,
biased on
you shouldn't be fixated on US.
US in general.
Just US.
Yeah.
I mean, there are many options. Like one of my friends is going to Australia.
Yeah.
Then some of them are moving to Europe, and
the main reason I chose US is because our family has like a
Exactly.
history, not because of any sort of other reason. To be honest, like just someone who has gone to the same school, like you know, there are
Correct.
family members who went to the same
They're
school as I
alumni.
did,
Yeah.
and that I feel like really was like the closing factor on like me
So
picking
they can vouch
US.
for that college, right?
That, and it's just like if you know someone personally, even now in terms of like, you know, jobs and how recommendations work and how referrals work, if you know someone personally, you having to like, you know, you having to associate with that experience and then being sold on that idea of like, yeah, I want to join this company.
Correct.
It's very similar to like how I was like sold on the idea that I want to go to the US.
Right.
Of course, when the thought came out, I was like, okay, maybe some university in the US or whichever will accept.
Correct.
But of course, like it changes after you get like multiple acceptances.
Yeah, even I had that kind of a similar dilemma when I had got like one college which I wanted was Drexel and another was Rochester, University of Rochester. So I and like thankfully I got both of them, but I had a very hard time to choose between those two. And I actually like I remember taking my time. I took about a month or so to make
decide.
the final decision to like for going with Drexel University. But yeah, I mean that you have at that point you have to make like a pro and con list for each college if you are in that kind of a situation, and just pick the one that fits you best, and you have the right to do that for you. So
Yeah, of course. I mean, you first of all, we all are like paying for our education.
Exactly.
So we have to like do the pros and cons list. That I feel is very important. But after you make those decisions and then you know, okay, fine, you got your I-20, you went for your visa, you got it done, you flew here.
Yeah.
You started. How was the first week, like where you're attending all lectures and
All
then you're deciding
events
which
and
ones to
everything.
like keep and
Correct,
which ones
correct.
to like.
Correct.
How was that
So
for you?
for me, I think as I was coming from a mechanical engineering background, my core subjects were decided by the college itself for this quarter.
Okay.
Because I didn't have a biology background, as they said.
And that helps.
And that helps, yeah.
Okay.
So they put me in somewhat similar, like somewhat mixture of engineering and bio courses. So I had like a programming course, a math course, and a pure biology course for this quarter.
Okay.
And then, I mean, to be honest, I didn't really have a good time doing the programming course because I wasn't really that good in programming.
Okay.
I mean,
But you still
I
have
should
to
have
keep
learned,
up.
but I can't really blame it on COVID for not teaching me. But yeah, so I think I should have learned MATLAB better during my engineering times, but it's okay. I mean, I passed, so that is what matters. So, I mean, I had to work my ass off, but
But like, what about the future relevance of MATLAB in suppose like your job or whatever you will have? If it's minuscule, then you would probably not want to spend so much time learning it, right? You would probably want to learn something that is more applicable.
I mean,
but coding is very
as
applicable.
long as it's useful for me, I mean, I don't mind learning it because knowledge is never like whatever you've gained as knowledge never goes to waste. I feel so somewhere in life I will have to use MATLAB for as a part of my job or anything. So as long as it's useful, I'm good.
So then those courses that the university picked for you, you were able to like keep up.
Keep up, yeah. I mean, I at times I thought I was struggling, but there are a few people who help me out. Like the professors over here are very helpful, and if you just attend their office hours and get to know them, and they'll most probably help you out. I mean, if you actually show interest in learning and all, they will like legit help you out. over
Yeah,
here.
I can definitely vouch for that. Like, I mean, I remember like attending my first few lectures and
Yeah.
deciding like these are the 4 courses that I'm going to take, and the course that I ended up doing my thesis in,
Mhm.
I really remember like going to the professor uh, right after my first lecture, and approaching him and saying I would like to work for your lab.
Right.
What do you require from me?
Mhm.
So he's like, you must submit like a statement of purpose, or like why are you even why are you even interested in like doing
Right.
orthopedic research?
Fair.
Correct. So I feel like it goes from 0 to 100 very fast. Like over here, even in the first lecture, he was like, okay, I know you want to, but like you must have like some sort of
Some
reason.
yeah.
And no matter how personal it is, they are not here to like evaluate your academic background, and he's not here
Yeah.
to like. I've never felt that he was like judging me
Mhm.
on the basis of like, oh, are you even like suitable enough to do lab research?
Correct.
No, it wasn't the place that he was coming from. He was just genuinely curious about what sort of interest I have,
Mhm.
and as honest as I was, and in telling him, it was evident to him.
Right.
Now he's been in like this field for 35 years. Like he will understand when someone is genuine and
Mhm.
it's not. So I guess they are very very good at that.
Yeah.
And I have had like a fabulous experience with all professors. Like I actually wanted to do a PhD
Okay.
under him, but some funding constraints stopped me from doing that, and then I ended up getting a job. But again, no complaints there. But they are he helped us like get a grant for our thesis
Mhm.
from a very reputed company,
That's good.
and that whole like there's a lot to learn. I guess like you have to like pick things up fast. You
Mhm.
can't like waste any time.
Mhm.
I think I was like really sold on the idea that like you are going to spend most of your time in the library, which was such a foreign like concept.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine like back home, if you are in college, like
Mhm.
you would spend time in a library, like
No, I mean, if I think about it, I haven't really visited the library back in India. I mean,
except for the one time where you're gonna get like a no dues sign.
yeah, exactly. Or if you're waiting for your viva or something like that.
Yeah, but like in India, I feel like our college had like this weird sort of library
Yeah.
rule where you have to just like sit in silence, or like
Don't
you,
do like no electronics or something like that.
yeah, which is strange because I mean a library here has like everything including a
and
coffee shop.
high speed Wi-Fi, dude. That's
Not
like
just
a
that, like it has a
big
printing station, it has laptops, it has multiple like
But
it
like-
has high performance computers if you want to work on some like,
exactly
software.
exactly.
So the infrastructure of like what a library means, just that definition itself changed. So
Mhm.
then for me it was like very easy. Like okay, yeah, I can like instead of being at home where my home is literally full of distractions because I was living with like
Yeah,
7
you
other
could just
people.
go to the library and
Yeah.
sit for hours and hours.
Yeah, and there are libraries everywhere. It's not like one library.
Exactly.
There's a library in front of my lab. There's a
Mhm.
library. There's a main library. There's another departmental library.
Mhm.
There are multiple other
There are a lot of
libraries.
study places around.
Yeah, it's like study
So-
like places. And there's like microwave ovens if you have like a meal. There are places to eat around it. So it's very conducive to there. You can't have any excuse.
Hmm.
You can't have excuse of not being
studying.
able to study.
Hmm.
So I feel that happened mostly because mainly because of the infrastructure for me,
Fair.
like over here.
Yeah, I mean, libraries are not too well maintained. Also, I mean, there's dust on the tables and everything. Plus, like the Wi-Fi thing, which I said, we had like restrictions on Wi-Fi. We weren't able to use YouTube while connected to the college Wi-Fi and everything. So they just had like some restrictions because they thought we'd just watch YouTube videos, and like even if I wanted to watch something related to my like subject,
You're not able to.
I wasn't able to. So
Yeah. So
I mean, we had
depends on
data. and
how
but-
you are like. So over here, I feel like they give you a lot of freedom,
Mhm.
even in terms of like their grading and
Schedule
everything.
also.
Their schedule
Their
is
schedule
good.
is-
Like the grading really focuses on what the student has understood.
Exactly.
And it's not like, I mean, I guess like curved grading depends on the person who topped,
Right.
and then from there, but it doesn't mean that your
You-
paper is being checked against that paper.
Right.
You as an individual, your answers are being evaluated per the question, and the questions are neutral.
Exactly.
So they're same for everybody.
Exactly.
But not like it's not you can choose to word your answer
Mhm.
differently. You can
Mhm.
choose a different way to arrive at the answer,
Exactly.
and you would
And
still
I think
get
they're
pass.
looking for that itself.
Yeah.
I just think that they want students to think about it and
Yeah.
apply what they've understood.
Yeah, and
It's
that
not
was
just
really.
like learning answers and just writing them on the answer sheet.
Yeah, and that wasn't really the case when I was doing my undergrad. Like I didn't feel so. So certainly I can't imagine like how it must be through COVID. If like you don't have any sort of, where is your motivation to study coming from, right?
During COVID,
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't any because firstly they just passed everyone in the first semester of COVID. They're like university was like, no, we're not taking exams. Everyone's passed. Everyone's moving to the next grade. So we're like, okay, chill, good for us. But from the next exam, I remember they were taking MCQs and we had this camera, which was
Like a proctoring system.
yeah, like a proctoring system. So everyone was scared, but it was MCQ, man. Like you can't really mess that up.
Yeah, I mean,
And that helped people clear their backlogs and me too. So
then
things
after-
worked out, but they were different.
yeah, I would never imagine like thankfully by the time COVID hit here, I was already working. Like
Yeah.
literally, I finished in 2019, and by December 2019, I had a job.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I moved to Philly, and then 2020, I was lucky enough to like keep my job and still continue to working from home, because being in the healthcare sector, it's sort of like it became a different sort of ask.
Mhm.
Like for me, it just boomed. Like my work tripled,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, I guess I can still do this because I'm like at home. I'm not like really going into work, and I'm safe and all. I was literally right here. So
Like
can't imagine like how people are doing like their studies.
I think the real challenge was during our our final year, when they decided that there are not going to be online exams. You have to come to the university, write like physically write like pen and paper exams, and everyone was just pissed. Everyone was pissed.
Why do you have to be pissed? Like
I mean, I think we got too comfortable with online exams. That's why
yeah.
we were a little bit hesitant, and there were protests, but they didn't really help. So we had to.
I'm not sure how a protest is going to help. Like
Yeah.
decision.
But like they did provide us with like a question bank, but none of the questions in the question paper were from the question bank, and in some papers they had changed the paper pattern entirely. So I think that was a little bit unfair from the university.
Why would it be unfair? Like you
I
can't
mean,
blame the questions.
See, you have studied in the same university. You know how to study for those exams, right? You just study from the previous question paper,
papers, yeah.
and you recognize a pattern. It's clear, like question 1 or 2, 3 or 4, 5 or 6, 7 or 8. Similar, right? But during our times, we were just given question 1 or 2, 3 or 4, and 5 or 6 for 40 marks each. I mean, how?
So you either get 5 for like 40 years and like 6 for 40.
40, yeah.
There is no option of
There is no option
like 5A, 5B
yeah.
or
So
6A.
if you had like those unit 5 or 6.
40, what are they asking?
40,
One question worth
40 or
marks?
something, yeah, 30 or 40 marks.
30
yeah, I
marks?
think, yeah.
Like a derivation.
Because right, the last 2 units had the most weightage for the exam.
Yeah, this weightage is a little bit like skewed. I feel
It is skewed.
Yeah. So it makes things very tough. Like
Mhm.
I mean, I remember I got a backlog because of this sort of like weightage, which is the only one I had.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
good. That's very good.
Where I remember scoring very less, and
But it's
know,
okay. That
revaluation
subject
doesn't
was
help.
a little bit tough though, and thank God
a lot of the other
I
subjects.
had the subject during COVID, so
Yeah, turbo machine is
turbo
tough.
machine is tough.
Yeah, I feel
Very
like
tough
that
subject.
is the one that you would really want to like a professor to explain you every
And
single
the
principle.
practicals, dude. The
Exp-
impeller and everything, those practicals were actually very nice, but I didn't get to experience that because COVID.
So then, I mean, that naturally sort of comes in between your understanding of the subject.
Exactly, and the professors tried their best. I'm not even blaming them. Like they tried sending us, like they recorded themselves performing the practical, sending us those videos, asking us to read, like go through those videos. But I don't know. You just have to be present in the lab to maybe
Understand.
understand. Because learning through like practicals don't really work during online. So
Yeah. I mean, the concept of practicals, like, should be to maybe enhance the understanding of your
Exactly,
theoretical
exactly.
subject, not to just
Because
do and pass
you have
in your
those
viva.
miniature machines in your lab, right?
Yeah.
So you know, like, you study theory and then you go to the lab, you study like, oh, this is how it happens. So
You had more machines in your lab than I did.
Exactly.
Honestly. So like,
exactly.
so while I was studying, our college was still sort of like, I mean, we didn't even have the new building, so like you can imagine. So, but yeah. So then, what about here? Like
Mhm.
now, once you just finished your first semester,
Right.
Now you're on vacation. Now
Mhm.
you'll start your campus job next year, and
Mhm.
also start another semester. Then you'll go for a co-op.
Yeah.
What
Hopefully.
what are your like expectations, or like what sort of, how are you like
Mhm.
reorienting your career, like, or your subjects in a direction which will help you, in your co-op,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course to get a job?
Mm-hmm.
Are there different courses you're
Mainly,
taking?
I think I declared my concentration in my masters.
So they have you do that?
Yeah, so they were like, okay, so if you declare this concentration, you'll have to take these required courses for that concentration. So I am taking one of those courses every quarter now. So for this quarter, I've taken biomedical ethics and law, which is required. So pretty new subject, never heard of it. So kind of excited to study.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a lab for product design and product design for biomedical engineers.
Mm-hmm.
So as like having an experience in product design, I think I'll do good in that subject.
What would your ideal job be? Like a project engineer?
Project engineer or more like a product manager role?
Like a product manager role, honestly, becomes a very people-oriented role. If
Mhm.
you're interested in engineering, I would say
Go for the product engineer.
no. At the start of your career, I would
I mean,
definitely
eventually
say
I would like to progress to a
product
manager.
manager.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, everyone does. Nobody
Exactly.
wants to like a lot of, not nobody. There are people who I know personally who
Or like
who
senior
want to be
product engineer also works. Just like have
there
some
is no
people work
product
under.
engineer. There is a project engineer
Project
which
engineer,
works on
okay.
like engineering side of things, and
Mhm.
product manager just like is more of a life cycle thing.
Okay.
You'll understand this like
After I get some experience.
yeah, you'll be in
Corporate
like
experience.
you'll be in a company where you'll see these positions, and that's when you'll understand. So
Mhm.
of course now I was the same. I was wanting to do all of these things.
Yeah.
But later on, especially in the US with like the whole immigration issue, it comes down to you will get a job somewhere.
Yeah.
So then you will learn something over there.
Hmm.
And then either you choose to take that learning experience and move on to like, you'll actually find out like, okay, this is what I actually
want.
like.
Yeah. I think co-op will help me in that sense.
Yeah, so I
Because-
think co-op is very good with
yeah,
Excel.
so if I go for a co-op in some XYZ company and then I think this is not what I want to do. So that is what I'll learn from the co-op. It's not necessarily about the money.
Yeah. It's not about the money
Yeah.
itself. Like you've already spent a lot of money.
yeah,
like,
exactly.
like coming here and trying
So
to be in this.
as long as you learn that you have more clarity about what you want to do for your job, I think that way co-op will make sense.
Yeah.
So-
So I wish you good luck, man. I'm sure.
Thank
you'll-
you.